side thing. You mentioned about the payday loan places, the check cashing places. There's people that's so darn happy with the money in front of them. I can't believe it. There's problems with those places. They just look so happy with the money in front of them. The ads, sorry.
The interest rates at the end of the
Yeah, I know. I just had to put 2 of my cents in there. Okay, historically, the Mission has been a neighborhood plagued by crime. Things have improved in recent years, and we like that. How will you keep us on track? What kind of access will we have to your office with regard to crime-related issues? Go.
This is an issue that is fundamental to our ability to demonstrate that government can be responsive to people's needs. And first of all, community policing has to be part of the solution. And the Mission knows that better than anybody. I can tell you, in my experience using my code enforcement and gang team, whether I'm going after public nuisance or graffiti, we depend on the ambassadors in the city attorney's office to work with members of the community to get results. And that is what good community policing is all about. It's about having a partnership between government and your public safety law enforcement agencies to be responsive, to have eyes and ears and ambassadors out on the street, to be responsive, to demonstrate to folks that you're going to take care of the little problems so the big ones take care of themselves. That's what I've tried to do in all my nuisance abatement as city attorney, whether it be going after nuisance properties, my gang injunction unit, to work with the community and the great partners that we have in the DA's office, in the mayor's office, in the police department, who have a history of working together with the community, especially here in the Mission. And I will say, Greg Sir, when I was on the police commission, he did a wonderful job at building partnerships with the community to be responsive to public safety needs. And that's what we need for whoever the next mayor of San Francisco is.
Makes sense. And John?
Thank you. I came into office in 2008. We had 8 homicides in the Excelsior District. Our neighborhood was shaken to its core. And I realized that if I wanted to make an impact as supervisor in my district, I need to be using my office not to blame government, not to blame residents, not to blame individuals, but to bring people together to have a response to crime and violence. So we actually had a couple of murders since then, but we actually had vigils bringing police, bringing residents together to share our concern and bring people together to plan about how we can increase safety. In the communities, we've started neighborhood watch groups. I want to bring back the Safety Network Partnership, which creates organizations within the neighborhoods that are reaching out and building relationships with the police to encourage a greater community policing that's based on relationship building and people knowing one another in the neighborhoods and in the communities. I think community policing founded on relationship building is what's really going to make a difference in the city to make us all feel safer and to build trust between community members and the police. It often is a problem that we need to overcome.
Thanks, John. Leland, same question.
Sure. I know that, whenever there's crime, the natural reaction is that we've got to find the individual and we've got to punish that individual. We've got to set an example so that that individual will never commit the crime again. That model, that strategy is a failed strategy because we don't have enough money to build the kinds of jails and the prisons in the state of California to make that work. And so we've got to understand that. The state of California is going to return a lot more of those individuals in prison to our county jail. It is going to get that bad. So the question now is, how do you then figure out solutions to this particular problem? We've got to understand that a lot of individuals who are in prison are committing crime, do it for other kinds of reasons besides just being a bad person. Their mental health issues, their job situation, their economic situation, their community. We've got to get at those problems and those solutions, and that will give us a lot safer community on a long-lasting basis.
Thank you. Bevan?
Thank you. So as much as I love Greg Sir, I got to tell you, it's hard to make an argument in the police department that you get promoted by being a good community police officer, and I think we've got to change that because we don't reward people for being good community police officers. Back in '97, there were 2 young men shot in front of Mission Playground, and I, as Director of Neighborhood Services, came to a meeting with twice as many people at Mission Playground, and people were angry, and they wanted something to support these young people to get out of gangs. And so I promised to do a job fair. And then I hit, I think, one of the biggest brick walls that I've hit in city government when I started putting it together and realized I couldn't have one job fair. I had to have three. That young people couldn't cross lines in the mission. And so I had job fairs that were at Mission Playground, Dolores Park, and Presidio Park. And I had to explain to Juma and other employers that they couldn't send 2 people, they had to send 6 people. That's an indictment of our city, and our children live very different lives. As a gay man, I don't think about crossing 20th and Mission, whether I'm wearing red or blue. And I think for any of us to be there, we've got to change that dynamic.
As a former criminal prosecutor and as someone who used to manage a community court, I absolutely agree with my colleagues that we need to implement community policing. But we need to do things beyond that. We need to focus on the use of technology and data in our criminal justice agencies. 10 years ago, actually 11 years ago, there was an immigrant woman, Claire Timpongo, who was murdered at a time when there were 6 agencies in the city and county of San Francisco that knew that she was being beaten to death. And despite that, now, 11 years later, we do not have a criminal database system that allows all the different agencies to communicate with each other. We also need to build significant partnerships among our different agencies, between, for example, the police department and all of the nonprofit agencies here in the mission that are working with at-risk youth, to make sure we have tighter partnerships between our police and our immigrant communities. When you build trust, when you invest in young people, and when our men and women in blue are working alongside others who are trying to make our communities better, that's how we improve public safety for our neighborhoods.
Thanks. We're going to start with John. Next question. All right. A well-educated workforce is essential for a healthy